The sights and sounds of college football continue tonight with an evening doubleheader here on ESPN2.
Programs, get your programs.
First up, the conference opener in the SEC for the Gamecocks and the Bulldogs.
We're just really sure about it. We got a pretty good football team here in Athens.
You could see this stage being set a year ago. Quarterback Quincy Carter rolled up the most impressive freshman season in Georgia history. Now he's become a sophomore. In the minds of Bulldog fans, expectations aren't just high, they're Heisman. How long till the sun shines again on Lou Holtz? Last week in his Carolina debut, he was drenched in turnovers, costly penalties, and one devastating blocked punt. That turned a very winnable game into the Gamecocks' 11th consecutive defeat. We are between these most famous offenses at Sanford Stadium. South Carolina takes on 12th-ranked Georgia here in Athens. Hi, everybody. Ron Franklin, and welcome to this doubleheader on this early Saturday evening on ESPN2. As soon as this game is over, we will send you off to Piscataway, New Jersey for that second matchup of the night, that one between Texas and Rutgers. But here in the Southeastern Conference, reality sets in. All the hoopla of Lou Holtz coming back to coaching, well, that's over. He plays his first matchup in the SEC East against the 12th-ranked Georgia Bulldogs. Later in the year, he still has to take on Tennessee and Florida. Those games come on successive weekends. If you gave them a report card from last week's game against NC State in their shutout loss, you'd have to say they played hard, the defense played well, and they found some semblance of a running game. However, these Bulldogs, they are a different breed when it comes to trying to tame somebody. And here in the Southeastern Conference, I find it a little strange. You hear a lot about Florida, a lot about Tennessee, but not that much about Georgia. I can promise you right now, Jim Donnan's Bulldogs will definitely have a say in the SEC East before it's all said and done. And I don't think you'll get any argument out of Gainesville, Florida, or Knoxville, Tennessee. In fact, I think what he's trying to say is, hey, August 6 is not the new guy with the new big bite in town. Coming up, SEC football between South Carolina and Georgia. Mike Gottfried and Adrian Karsten are standing by. Right now, let's go back to the studio and Brian Keddy. All right, Ron. ESPN2's presentation of college football is brought to you by J.P. Morgan. The Georgia Bulldogs in their second home game. Beautiful, beautiful day here in Athens, Georgia, and it's their first conference matchup as South Carolina comes calling. And, of course, the Gamecocks, we showed you last week in a 10-0 loss to NC State. Quincy Carter, what an outstanding first year as a starter. Now he comes back as a sophomore, and most people think that he not only can do it again, that he can have an even better year. The pro scouts simply drool when they talk about this young man, and Mikey is only a sophomore. What is the book here on Georgia, though? Everybody asks the question, you got the great young quarterback. What about his supporting cast, Mike?
Ron, Quincy Carter can do it all, but the 3 games they lost last year, they couldn't run the football. Somebody has to emerge. Jasper Sanks, Patrick Pass. And everybody thought, well, Champ Bailey's gone. Who are they going to throw the football to? Terrence Edwards emerged last year. The brother of Robert Edwards caught 10 passes and really put on a show for these Georgia fans.
Mike, we sat last week in Raleigh as the remnants of the hurricane came through, heavy rain, and I wonder how much of South Carolina we really saw, or what was left in the locker room or on the chalkboard that they couldn't display for us.
Ron, you couldn't tell a lot. The weather conditions were bad, but one thing you could tell is they played very well on defense. They hustled to the football. John Abraham, an outside backer, made a lot of plays. Their linebackers are stopped. Cleveland Pinckney, the nose guard. And then on offense, Derek Watson really showed a lot of promise as a freshman running back. But Lou Holtz's team, 8 fumbles, 4 lost interception. The touchdown they ran, pulled back by a holding call and a block punt for a touchdown. They shoot themselves all the time. Last year they did on the way to a 1-10 season. This year they got to eliminate turnovers.
Coach Lou Holtz, his first season, You see the career numbers, 216 wins, an average of almost 70%. And across the way, a gentleman who really has to take a backseat to no one as far as his presence in college football, be it this division or others. Jim Donnan has been extremely successful. Chad Holloman has the ball teed up. We see Boo Williams as one of the deep backs, along with Ryan Brewer. Very high, very long. Williams 2 yards deep, and he'll return it. Right side, 15, big opening, 20, 25. Cuts it back at the 40-yard line, and South Carolina will take over with great field position. To 45, and let's check in with Adrian Karsten. Adrian.
Well, Ron, don't let the fact that Quincy Carter lost 15 pounds in the offseason fool you. He's still a big, strong, young quarterback. However, Jim Donnan is still concerned about him taking too many hits in this ballgame tonight. To that end, when he's in a bootleg situation, he's always going to have a guard pulling out in front of him just to keep him safe. And if the unthinkable should happen, then LeBron Mitchell will be the man to take over at quarterback. But he's going to be aggressive, Carter is, but Georgia cannot afford to lose him in this game, Ron.
Adrian, we look forward to hearing from you tonight. On the ground, first play. And defensively, 97 Marcus Stroud steps across and knocks the play down for a loss. The big junior out of Barney, Georgia. Here are the starters for the Gamecocks. Petty again at quarterback, Boo Williams and Anton Neesmith. The receivers, we're anxious to see what they can do. We didn't see much in the rain the other night. Kelly and Hood. Pennington is the tight end. And up front with the offensive line, as we mentioned last week, this is the biggest question mark for South Carolina, and they got a failing grade on that first play. We'll check the Georgia defense after this play. Right in the middle, there's nothing. Neesmith with the carry. And defensively, this is the way the Bulldogs will line it up. The front four. This is an awfully good group. Richard Seymour, a team captain. He's only a junior. You think this game's not big to him. He is from South Carolina. Boy, this is a great group of linebackers. Bell gets the start in the middle. He's a junior college transfer. And in the secondary, there is a change there as well. Jeff Harris gets the start at corner. He goes with Robinson. Mann and Chambers are the safeties. Third down, line to make is the 45. That's on the other side of the 50. Pass is thrown, tipped, and it's intercepted. Kendrick Bell, who got his first start, and the coaches have just been raving about him. Mike Gottfried out of JC, starts in the middle, gets a pickoff.
Well, Kendrick Bell gets the benefit of a tip football on Phil Petty. Phil Petty goes back to throws, trying to throw the out. Ball's tipped by, I believe, 97 Marcus Stroud. There's the interception. Ron, South Carolina, 110 out of 112 last year. Division I teams turning the ball over. They start out that way again today.
So Georgia takes it over with great field position at their own, or at the Georgia, South Carolina, I should say, 41-yard line. Throwback screen to the near side. That's Edwards, gets a block, and here comes a flag from way downfield. Al Ford is the referee today, and somebody from way downfield has thrown the marker, and it would appear this one is going to go against the Bulldogs.
They've been holding, Ron, on the wide receivers.
Holding against the offense during the run, 10 yards from the spot of the foul, repeat first down.
The offensive starters for the Bulldogs, Carter, Arnaud, and Jasper Sanks, who Mike talked about. They are the running backs. The receivers, Parker, not real big at 5'9", but boy, he can get it done, and so can Edwards. Johnson is the tight end. Also look for a young man by the name of McMichael. They like him a lot. Jonas Jennings is the man of note on that offensive line. And take a look. Another Stenchcombe here at Georgia. A redshirt freshman, the starter at right tackle. Looking pass. Edwards has the completion. Tackled at the 42, so they just about got the yardage back from the penalty. As we look at the starters for the Gamecocks on defense. This group played well last week, and they played hard. Pinckney, always keep an eye on him. The linebackers, the guy in the middle was everywhere. Harney and also John Abraham, very, very good. In the secondary, those corners, jury is still out, Mike. House and Faison will keep a close eye on them, as will Georgia.
They will get tested.
From a shotgun. On second. Carter back into the boundary. That's too tall. Patrick Pass out of the backfield, the intended receiver, and it'll be third down.
Georgia's coming out, Ron, and spreading the field, trying to get Quincy Carter started here with quick passes against this South Carolina corners. You talked about it. You couldn't tell anything on tape. They don't know how good they are. They're going to try them out early in this ball game.
Mike, well, we've had 3 snaps from center. We've seen 3 different formations by Georgia.
They're showing them a lot of formations because South Carolina flip-flop their defense personnel, so they're showing them a lot of formations here early, trying to give them a lot to contend with on the sideline.
3-man rush by South Carolina, and now this is what Carter wants in the danger of the 3-man rush. And boy, he gets tattooed at the 37 by Corey Atkins.
Ron, you talked about those different formations, and when you have a new coaching staff, that's what you want to do with Jim Donovan's staff. They want to give them a lot of things to work on the sideline. Occupy their time. They're going to go for this 4th down.
Pinckney came in late and stepped on Quincy Carter, and he was still holding his right side just as they broke the huddle, Mike. We'll see. Deep over the middle, got it, incomplete. Edwards had it and then dropped it.
Ron, I like the call, though. I like Jim Donnan gambling here because his defense opened up very strong and dominated the first 3 plays of South Carolina's offense.
So let's take a break. 11:43 left in this opening quarter. No score. ESPN2's presentation of college football is brought to you by Goodyear, innovators of run-flat technology, and by Keystone Light, America's never bitter beer. The arch here on campus at the University of Georgia. Freshmen were once forbidden from walking under the arch, and in fact, most of today's freshmen still uphold that tradition. Packed house. They're still standing up on the streets. People trying to get as much of a look as they can. Beautiful sun-splashed day as we kick this one off just after 5 o'clock Eastern time here at Athens. A lot of red, both sides of the field. Swing pass. Who just got blasted. Brian Kenny, let's check in with him.
All right, Ron, thank you very much. Nebraska and California, hey, you have 2 quarterbacks. Well, you can put them both out on the field at the same time. Bobby Newcomb to Eric Crouch. There's the backup quarterback, and he is gone. All the way in for the touchdown. Nebraska up at the half, 28-0. About to kick off for the second half, Ron.
Okay, Brian, Derek Watson comes into the ballgame. Now, he is the freshman. He was player of the year in the state of South Carolina last year, who made such a mark on that game last week. He was extremely impressive. First carry, tries to bounce it outside, and Stroud, one of the first in there, along with Seymour, to get a hand on him.
Ron, I can tell you this right now. Georgia is dominating the line of scrimmage. They are big. Richard Seymour, 6'6", 295. Stroud, 6'6", 300. They are controlling the inside running lanes. There are no inside running lanes. South Carolina's got to come outside with the football. Last week, South Carolina 3 of 18 on 3rd down conversions. Already 0-1.
3 wide receivers to the left, to the bottom of your screen. Quick pass in the flat, got his man wide open. Drew Williams overthrown. Earl Chambers had dropped off for the cover for Georgia.
Now Ron 0 for 2, so you add those together, they're 3 out of 20 on 3rd down. Phil Petty, young sophomore, that Lou Holtz, Skip Holtz, the offensive coordinator, really believes going to be a great quarterback.
Patrick Pass is the deep man. As you look at 11, Pass just now trotting out on the field, waiting for return instructions from his special teams coach. They're coming after him. Got it away. Beautiful, beautiful kick. Pass makes the catch back at the 6-yard line. And he is going to take it just shy of the 20. 56 on the kick and 10 on the return. Well, coming up tomorrow at 8:15 Eastern, the season premiere of ESPN Sunday Night Football, and the long-awaited return of the Cleveland Browns as they host arch-rival Pittsburgh. Then on ABC's Monday Night Football, the Dolphins battle the Broncos. And number 7, that jersey is going to be retired. ESPN and ABC, your exclusive home for prime time NFL football.
I'd say he deserves it.
Yeah.
We'd like to have him back another year.
You'll get the argument from those folks in the Mile High City.
That's Johnson, the tight end, in motion. Sachs runs it back into the boundary, puts a head down. That's going to be about 6 yards on the play. Sheldon Brown is up from that free safety position. Jonas Jennings on that left side, number 75, at 6'4", 302. He's only a junior, but Mike, the Georgia coaches talk about him in terms of such versatility, as he has played and can play any position on that offensive line, tackle, guard, or center. But left tackle is where they need him most of all this year.
And they lose Stinchcomb, Terry. They go to the pros, and all of a sudden they got another great player, Jennings, in the offensive line.
Extremely mobile for a guy at 6'4", 302. They go right behind him again. Nothing doing this time as Athens comes up and is there to hit Jasper Sachs and knock him down for a loss. And now Jim Donovan's ball club with a 3rd down and about 6.5.
You talked about the style to start the game, wide open and throw the football. Now Jim Donovan comes in with 3 tight ends. He's trying to bang it at South Carolina a little bit.
Last week, Watson, 118 yards. Georgia, with 8 running backs, only had 112. Third down. They need to take it to the 28. Here comes the blitz. Pass wide open over the middle. Johnson dropped it. Boy, 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 boy.
Ron, Randy McMichael wide open. 86. They had 2 receivers that were not being defended. If they throw the ball to McMichael, they may get a touchdown. Number 86.
McMichael is the young man who had such an outstanding game last week. Mike, they really like him. He can really move again for a big fella. You're right.
Wide open.
Wincott waiting for the snap at the 7. Lou Williams is the deep man. The left footer, good coverage kick, very high. Didn't signal for a fair catch, and he's tackled as soon as he makes the grab at the 28. That is excellent coverage as Quentin Davis, a senior cornerback on the special teams, is there. We will take a break. Still no score. Welcome back to Athens. No score with 8:34 to play in his opening quarter. And Georgia is still making some changes on the defensive front. A couple of youngsters who have been impressive. Bruce Adrien, number 94, and Tyrone Robertson, a big redshirt freshman, number 90 out of Danville, Virginia. They fake it to Boo Williams. Flags are down, and it's going to be procedure against South Carolina.
Before the ball was snapped, there was a movement by the offensive line, 5 yards. Still first down.
A lot of mistakes around here early for South Carolina, but you look at last year, 110 out of 112, minus 13 last week, and already they're starting, and you can't afford when you're a 1-10 team to get down.
Boo Williams again in motion. They fake it to him. Throws it back up the sideline, and it is almost intercepted. Neesmith out of the backfield is who they wanted. That was Boss Bailey with the cover. And if you think the name is familiar, it's the little brother. Boss, a second-year man who was a linebacker. Phil Petty, redshirt sophomore out of Boiling Springs, South Carolina.
Option quarterback in high school. You'll see him run some option today. Lou Holtz wants to help his offensive line running the option.
2nd and 15 to try to keep it on the ground. Boo Williams gets by 1 tackler, gets by a second, and he's close to a first down. That's a run of almost 15. Neesmith with an outstanding block as Mann had to come up from the secondary to make the tackle.
Yeah, Boo Williams, a Doak Walker candidate in the spring. The South Carolina coaches were thinking about moving him to wide receiver because he caught the ball so well last year, 24 catches. Pretty good job running the football there.
Brewer will check in at running back. He's number 21. 3rd down and 1. Full house backfield, 2 tight ends. Straight ahead, and they will have the first down as number 33 is Bush. Jacob Bush, a junior fullback out of Jacksonville, gets the carry in short yardage.
Ron, this year, Joe Kynes has moved out of the defensive coordinator role for Jim Don, and Kevin Ramsey's moved in. Kevin Ramsey, an outstanding secondary coach at Tennessee, brings a little bit more gambling style defense. Joe Kynes really involved in this defense, but Georgia defense last week turned over the ball 6 times, already once today.
Watson back in the game at tailback, and I mean Petty gets obliterated. 37, Kendall Bell, the linebacker who is starting today in the place of Witherspoon, and Spoon may never get his starting position back, Mike, with Bell playing this kind of football game.
Kendrick Bell just shot the gap right here and takes Bill Petty on the option. It's almost like they knew the option play was called.
Plays with a very reckless, abandoned style. Bell, a junior from Augusta, Georgia. Safeties are creeping up. They stay at home. South Carolina to throw. Petty under pressure, and he got it out in the flat, and his tight end Pennington falls down after he makes the catch. Marcus Stroud with a lot of pressure. You could see 97 coming after the quarterback, Petty.
Larry Mann does a nice job, Ron. You talked about the safeties cheating down. Safeties moved down. Larry Mann saw Pennington coming across the field, collisioned him so that he couldn't get off the ball free. Then they completed the ball. Not much of a gain.
The trade Pennington, his first career reception. Third down, line to make is just shy of the 50. Here comes the pressure from the outside. Incomplete, tipped at the line of scrimmage. I think Grant may have gotten a hand on that as he tried to get it out on the flag.
The other thing, Ron, is they didn't score a point last week against North Carolina State. You lose a little confidence when you don't score, and all of a sudden you get that big weight on your shoulders. When are we going to score? A little tentative on offense.
Levitt, his first punt, 55 yards, and again it's Patrick Pass back in a deep safety for Georgia. Still no scores. We're about to go under 6 minutes to play. Opening quarter. Line drive and a returnable kick, and Pass runs away from it. Then gathers it on the first bounce. Patrick will take it up around the 30-yard line. It's 43 on the kick and 17 on the return. So let's take a break. Georgia nothing, South Carolina nothing. We'll be right.
Don't let someone drive.
So we're back in Athens, still no score with 5:49 left in this opening quarter. And Mike, we have talked during a couple of timeouts here. Jim Donald's ball club has wasted one really good and in fact 2 good opportunities.
They've had opportunities early. They just don't seem to be able to get their offense together yet.
Hit in the backfield, no place to go for Arnott, and he will be knocked for a loss, and it's Kenneth Harney. Harney last week in the NC State game was in double figures in tackles and had a simply outstanding game. So why would you, if you put a finger on something, why do you think that this the Georgia offense is stuttering right now?
Haven't been able to come out and establish the run. This is a Georgia problem. They lose to Tennessee last year. They lose to Florida last year. They lose to Georgia Tech. They can't run for 100 yards in those ball games. They've got to find a way to run the football.
Well, these numbers back up what you're saying. 4 attempts for 6 yards so far. On second and long, deep over the middle, Johnson is tight end, and he's just beyond his outstretched hands. Green was trying to cover, but boy, he was there.
That's what I'm talking about, missed opportunities there, because it doesn't look like he's full out running here. It's almost like he wasn't sure he was going to come to him. Makes a great effort to try to catch the ball, but they're close, Ron, on some things here. That's how close they are, but they're not getting it done here in the first quarter. Still 5:04 left, but when you got a quarterback like Quincy Carter, expect a breakaway any time because he's that kind of player. Give you the big
receivers for Georgia this time. Empty backfield as Carter stands in a shotgun formation. Big pressure from the outside by Abraham, and he throws it complete to Pass, and he makes the reception inbound. John Abraham, as I said, with a lot of pressure, and that's a gain of 21.
Ron, I saw one thing on that play. They go to 4 wide receivers, and they put the tight end, Javaris Johnson, outside, and they got a linebacker on him. You can see him right there, number 58. is on him. That's Corey Atkins. So expect Georgia to come back there because that's a good matchup for Georgia.
Also in the ball game is Randy McMichael. I mentioned him earlier. Young redshirt freshman out of Fort Valley, Georgia, number 86. That's him in motion. They use him as a blocker on this play as Arnott puts a head down. He will have 5. Atkins again from that linebacker position with his 4th tackle already in his opening quarter.
Having Quincy Carter as a quarterback spoils you because you expect big plays. The fans expect big plays. The coaches expect big plays. He's really worked hard this summer, Ron. He came in the last year and didn't really have spring ball, and a lot was expected of him, and he delivered. But now he's a better quarterback because he had spring practice in the summer where he stayed here, didn't play baseball, worked out with his teammates.
Arnott, the only setback, they fake it to him. Caught by McMichael, the tight end, and he does not have the first down. Going to miss it by about 1.5 yards as Abraham stops him.
You can argue about who's the best quarterback in the country, but you better put Quincy Carter in the argument. You know, Rod Gilmore talks about him early in the year, talked about he liked him very much, but you're looking at a sophomore here, Ron. I think he's established himself clearly as if he's not the #1 quarterback, I don't know who is. But he does it all. He runs the football. He's running his offense. He's a very accurate passer and a gifted athlete.
Well, he's lost 15 pounds this year. He's just under 220 pounds. He'll have that first down as he goes straight ahead on the quarterback sneak. But he has lost some weight for more mobility. But I asked him yesterday, I said, the one question that I really wonder is that picture window a little louder? A little louder. I said louder because whatever just came in my ear.
That was loud.
But is it wider for you this year? Can you see a lot better? And he said, no doubt about it.
No, spring practice, Ron. Spring practice helps a quarterback learn the offense and learn defenses.
Short drop, quick throw. Got Edwards one-on-one, trying to break a tackle. Faison finally puts the stop on him. And let's check in again with Brian Kenny. Brian?
Ron, Virginia and Clemson. Tommy Bowden looking for his first win with that squad, and Travis Zachary going to help out with that going in. That's a touchdown. 27-0. Clemson leads Virginia, Ron.
Tells you how good Marshall is. They beat him last week. Clemson comes back. Looks like they're doing a great job against Virginia.
Sanks this time as the setback. 2 catches now for 16 yards for Edwards. Sanks right up the middle. Has an opening. There's Jonas Jennings in there trying to block for him to pave the way a little further. Abraham on the stop, but it's enough for the first down.
Now, Ron, Jasper Sanks, a year ago, he was the most talked about freshman running back since Herschel Walker. 5,000-yard rusher in high school, Columbus, Fort Union, first year, 13 touchdowns. He reported heavy, had ankle problems last year, and he said, I read too many press clippings about how I was going to be this great back.
In motion, they come back to his side for the block. In fact, he might have gotten a foot out there on the block, and Sanks is going to be stopped just inside the 25.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
You could see a foot come out of the pile, and it was an effective block.
235 pounds last year, Jasper Sanks. Now he's down to 215. A little more fluid running the ball. If somebody could step up at the running back position, this Georgia team would have a chance to win the East. They need a running back to step up.
90 seconds left in this opening quarter. Sanks again the setback. 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. Johnson in motion, back into the short side of the field, and Sanks inside the 15, 1st and 10, Georgia. Atkins defensively for South Carolina.
Georgia fans like it, Ron, but Jim Donnan loves this because he knows he's got a good offensive line. He knows he's got a great quarterback. He's got some receivers to establish. Now, just Jasper Sanks or Patrick Pass has to step up and run the football. And he looks pretty good as he explodes into the line of scrimmage.
11th play of the drive coming up. About to go under 60 seconds remaining opening quarter. Patrick pass who makes, or Edwards, I beg your pardon, it was 8 rather than 6. His 4th reception, and Faison is out there on him.
Ronnie, he had 10 catches last week. With 6 minutes to go, the coaches told Jim Donnan, they said he needs 3 yards to break the single game record for receiving yardage. Jim Donnan said, I'm not going to put him back in. He's going to have plenty of chances to break that record. He's off to a nice start today.
Georgia very deliberately. 12 plays coming up right here. Clock is down to 11, now down to 10. Pitch to Sanks, back into the short side of the field. He's at the 5, at the 2, at the 1-yard line as the horn sounds, and that is the end of the opening quarter. And out front, Johnson blocking on the play as Arnaud almost took it into the end zone. Welcome back as we prepare to start this second quarter of play, and the ball is just inside the 1-yard line. Sanks and Arnaud are the 2 setbacks in the ball game for Georgia. No score, and the Bulldogs are sitting right there in the lip of the cup. Carter tried to take it over the top, and Pinckney is right there to submarine him.
Ron, they go on a fast count, so I don't know if they were set long enough, Georgia, or whether they caught South Carolina offside. They ran up the line of scrimmage, and I think
defense offside, half the distance, still first down.
Ron, they were so fast to the line of scrimmage, and South Carolina got down real fast and offside. You can see right up here at the top of the screen a helmet, couple helmets offside.
That's the reason Pinckney was under there already holding on to Carter's ankle.
A little start.
This time they go with Arnaud, and he is belted just as he tries to go airborne, and they will lose yardage. Second down coming. Now that was a good surge by the defensive front of South Carolina. John Abraham from that linebacking position.
Ron, he's an outstanding player. Butkus award list. 7 quarterback sacks last year. He just catches Robert Arnaud before he's able to go airborne.
And Georgia has got a player shaken up. That's the reason for the stoppage at play here.
I believe it's Arnaud.
They headed back for the huddle. Adrian Karsten has just told us that Arnaud has injured his left ankle. Up under his own power now, coming off the field, as you can see, which is good news. Hit a couple of kids last week that sustained injuries and are not able to play. Callaway, one of those, and what I guess Green is going to be out for, what, 3 weeks or 4 weeks with a broken jaw.
Ron, here's where Quincy Carter is very dangerous right here, because the outside threat now runner pass. Here's Arnaud getting hurt, getting his ankle twisted on the tackle.
So from the 2-yard line, it is second down, and one of the reasons you really have to stay at home is because Carter can reverse this thing out and be in the end zone quicker than you can blink your eye. But they're going to go with the run, and they give it up to the big fellow who wears 19, and Charles Grant, who is a freshman and plays linebacker and defensive end, and tips the scales at about 265. And Jim Donnan said that they were going to use him in short yardage situations.
Tied Herschel Walker's touchdown record in high school. Jim Donnan said, we worked hard to recruit him. And when they say they worked hard to recruit him, they did. Everybody in America wanted Charles.
Charles Grant, 6'3", 266 pounds, a freshman out of Colquitt, Georgia. He is the man at the top of the eye. It's the 15th play of this drive. They give it back to him. This time easily. Grant with the touchdown. Trying to put Georgia on top, 7-0. And he does. So there's a timeout on the field. 13:46 left until halftime. 7-0. ESPN2's presentation of college football is brought to you by State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And by Domino's, delivering 1 million smiles a day.
August 6th, and that's ice down on the grass. It's warm here in Athens, and Uga is just kind of relaxing here. He's kind of chilling out, so to speak, on 3 big bags of ice.
Well, I'll tell you who else is chilling out. Charles Grant, 266-pound running back, looked pretty good to me as a running back. He scored 101 touchdowns in high school. He knows how to get in the end zone. I think they're going to play him a little bit more at the running back position as this year goes along.
I wouldn't doubt it, Mike. And with that kind of mobility, he is rangy, and he showed when he took the pitch, extremely agile.
I was impressed with Charles Grant.
Kurak will kick it off for Georgia. Lou Williams going to get by him. It'll go into the end zone. No penalty here. They will take it at the 20-yard line. Well, coming up later tonight, 23rd ranked Texas is in New Jersey to face Rutgers. Longhorn quarterback Major Applewhite threw for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns last week against Stanford. It comes your way at around 8:15 when we're finished here in Athens. And for more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com.
South Carolina around with 19 yards total offense.
Well, Petty
not going to get it done.
2 of 6 with 1 interception for 4 yards. Throw the block. Watson spins off one tackler, and he will be stopped just shy of the 25-yard line as a flag comes in late.
Ron, that's a big mistake by Tim Bell, number 70. He ran into Richard Seymour long after the play was over, and that's going to cost him. Maybe a dead ball foul, too.
It is going to be a dead ball foul.
That's going to really put him in the hole.
They don't get the... Interesting thing for Coach Holtz, they are so slim of offensive linemen, he can't bench him right now for disciplinary reasons.
But I'm sure he's going to talk to him about that. Ron, here's where you expect a team maybe to self-destruct. South Carolina's had so many problems on turnover. Jim Donnan smells it. Kevin Ramsey smells a turnover right here. This is the area that they can get them.
Second down. Petty under heavy pressure. Stroud is after him, delivers long, and it is well overthrown and out of bounds to Kelly. And now there was a flag down at the 6-yard line.
Melvin Page holding 72. So continue to make mistakes in the offensive line. Melvin Page, number 72, is going to try to help Phil Petty. You can see him holding right here. That allows Phil Petty to get outside. Georgia wisely declines it.
So the situation, the line of scrimmage remains the 12-yard line. It is 3rd down. And to pick up the first, they got to go all the way out to the 30. Georgia faithful directly behind South Carolina in that west end zone. Blitz up the middle. It's Bell with pressure, and the pass is caught by Hood. And I'm telling you, he had Bell all over him. 37 was tackling Petty as a 23-yard pass was complete.
A confidence booster for Phil Petty because he got hit. Just what you're talking about. Under pressure, his offensive line really gave him pretty good protection. Good job by the tailback block, but you see the pressure in his face. Kerry Hood does a nice job positioning himself to catch the football. Big play for South Carolina. There's the pressure.
I'm telling you, big play. Otherwise, they've got to punt very, very deep in their own territory. Straight up the middle. 6 yards, and now 7 is Bush, and let's check in with Brian Kenny.
All right, Ron, Purdue, Notre Dame heating up at 16-14. Fighting Irish up on top of Drew Brees. Is back to pass, and he gets that to Randall Lane all the way to the one. They punched it in from there. Now, going for 2, Drew Brees. Elway-esque. He's going to get there. Up over the top, and he's in, and it's 22-16 Purdue. Ron?
Well, the young man from Austin, Texas, just continues to impress. Last year in that Alamo Bowl game down in San Antonio with that come-from-behind win over Kansas State. He is, I'm not going to say he's going to be a great one. He is a great one, Mike.
They have a lot of confidence, Ron. 11-1 in Joe Tiller's home schedule there, and they've won 7 in a row, so they're a confident football team. Penalty on Georgia here.
Personal foul, late hit against Georgia. So the ball is moved across midfield to the 46 of the Bulldogs. 7-0, Georgia leads. Watson gets by 1 tackle. Now reverses his field. Still on his feet, and he's going to fight his way to the 35 before Larry Mann will make the stop, and he probably should have been tackled 3 different times. Adrian Karsten, what do you have for us?
You know, Derek Watson could have very easily been in the Bulldog backfield because Georgia really wanted him, and he really wanted Georgia. But, Ron, ironically, it came down to kind of a misconception and some confusion in recruiting. And then the coaches from Georgia just stopped showing up at his front door. He didn't hear anything more from Georgia, so he cried the day he found out he was academically eligible to attend Carolina and loves it there now.
Well, it is certainly South Carolina's game. Straight ahead, and again, it's Bush, the ball carrier. And the big fullback hammers his way down to around the 31 before Evans stops him defensively. Bush gets a breather, also gets a round of applause from the South Carolina faithful as we're about to go under 11 minutes left in the second quarter. Neesmith out front blocking. Watson will take it behind the blocking of Cedric Williams, and Seymour is there to tackle him after 2.
When you have defensive linemen like Georgia has, you control the line of scrimmage. Ron, one thing when you look at South Carolina and just watching him a little bit, Tim Bell that time may have tipped off a little bit that he was pulling. He was back a little bit.
I'll tell you what, Mike, also Stroud just limped off the field, and the trainers had to go out and get him. Big Marcus Stroud will try to get a report on him. Pressure up the middle. Pass is intercepted by Robinson. Had 2 last week, make it 3 on the season, and he is still on his feet and motoring. And they say he stepped out of bounds back at the 35-yard line.
Ron, Earl Chambers with a great block on that interception.
That's 4 turnovers on the year for Robinson. He had 2 intercepts last week. This is his 3rd, and he also had a fumble recovery.
But he picked up a great block by Earl Chambers. That's what Kevin Ramsey wants out of his defense. Last week, 6 turnovers, 2 already today. Phil Petty just a ball got away from him. Brian Scott, the intended receiver, just Corey Robinson with a nose for the football.
So that's 2 turnovers against South Carolina, and they were driving, and that was a very sincere drive, I thought, Mike. Quick out pass, got it in the flat at the 30. Phillips behind a blocker will take it to the 41. And when I say sincere, because of the use of Bush, all of a sudden they were getting between he and Watson quite a push. and they were doing some damage on that defensive front.
A good drive, Ron, but when you come up empty like that, it doesn't mean anything. They're now approaching 6 quarters where they haven't scored. And you see, again, the turnover margin. We keep talking about it. 110 in the NCAA last year. Already 2 here.
Sanks is the lone setback behind Quincy Carter. 9.5 minutes to play until halftime. Carter, short drop, got it complete. Boy, they were trying to get him to turn. That's Parker who made the reception. They wanted to get that cornerback coming up, let him turn and juke him and head it upfield.
You almost think about that play. That was so quick by House, the corner 29, that upstairs you look at that and you say, okay, maybe same situation. Let's pump it and let him go down the sideline, try to hit the home run on him.
House did make an outstanding play, a redshirt freshman out of Tampa who wears number 29. And they're going to bring the chains from across the way. And as they stretch it out by the nose of the football, Al Ford says first down, Georgia. Well, catch the early evening Sports Center now 30 minutes earlier at a new time, 6 Eastern, Monday through Friday. Whether you're watching in the mornings, late night, or now 6 o'clock weekday evenings, Sports Center is your source for sports news, information, and highlights as it's been for 20 years and counting. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com. Patrick Pass in the ball game at tailback. Pressure on Carter. And this is where the big fella can really hurt you. And I'm telling you, Edwards let it go right through his hands. As you've just got a wake of defenders left behind him. Forget how big he is. He can outrun the world.
Well, here's what Jim Donnan talked about to us yesterday in the coaches meeting. He said every play he gives you a chance. Even if it's a bad play, most quarterbacks get sacked on that play. He has so much speed.
Watch Abraham.
Abraham comes up the field. Now they've got 3 guys chasing him. They have no chance to catch him. And he still throws the ball, and it should have been a completion to Terrence Edwards.
John Stinchcomb is the man who came back and threw that helping block for his quarterback. Carter steps up into the pocket, deep over the middle, and he overthrows him. Oh, and he had McMichael wide open. Having to move up into the pocket quickly as Abraham again was coming after it.
This is unbelievable when you look at the tight ends here at Georgia. They look so good. Here McMichael right wide open, just ball gets away from Quincy Carter. But last year they had Wiggins and Larry Brown. Now this year, 2 good-looking tight ends in Johnson and McMichael.
I'll tell you something. He has not done it so far tonight because the ball has not been thrown directly to him. But I project that kid right there is going to be a star, Mike Godfrey. I think McMichael's going to be one
I agree.
that will light it up. He has a world of ability. Here comes the blitz. Going to have to hurry on this one. Lofts it for Patrick Pass, and he made the catch at the 29.
Shows you arm strength, Ron. There's a frustrated Lou Holtz looks on, but he threw across his body here. Usually when you throw across the body as a quarterback, it's going to be interception. 9 times out of 10. He moves to the left, skates to the left. Shows you how strength of his arm. Patrick Pass running a corner route against Sheldon Brown. Just makes that catch before he hits the out-of-bounds marker.
Pass again is the setback as Georgia's driving. The pitch goes to Pass, and he's got a blocker in front. Puts a head down and is close to the 25 as House from his cornerback spot. And let's check in again with Adrian Karsten. What do you have, big fella? Adrian?
Robert Arnaud, Ron, is on his way to the locker room. Pads and jersey off. Left ankle and left knee sprain combination. He is done for the game. Spoke with Marcus Stroud moments ago. He just took a knee to that, well-proportioned stomach of his. He says he's just fine. Had enough pep.
You know, Adrian, the next time we do a Georgia game, I would like to see you and Stroud in the battle for those pork ribs.
At Anderson's. That all-you-can-eat place.
I tell you what, Adrian, my money's on you, big fella.
They roll the pocket, and that's a nice defensive play. Edwards, just as he got the football, Faison was there to make him let go of it.
Rashad Faison does a great job of grabbing the arms of Terrence Edwards here, not allowing him to catch the football. Good coverage. Georgia gives you so many looks, so they're a talented football team. If they can find a way to run the football, I believe number 19 would be my tailback. What I've watched here early.
Eighth play of the drive.
I tell those defensive guys, you've seen him for the last time.
Phillips checks in, number 5 at wide receiver. He's to the top of your screen. Blitz coming up the middle again. They get it away quickly, and the ball is dropped by Sanks. Well, we've had a couple that have been dropped, and Quincy has been a little high on a couple. And Brian Kenny, what do you have for us?
Well, we're going to check back in with Notre Dame and Purdue. We saw Purdue take the lead. Didn't have it too long. Jarius Jackson back, hitting Bobby Brown there, right in. Point after is good, so it's 23-22 Notre Dame, Ron.
Okay, Ron, I'll tell you, the state of Indiana, they're not just at each other's throat in basketball this year, as we line up for a 43-yard field goal attempt by Hep Hines. His longest 54 in his career. This will come from the far hash mark. Gets a good pass, and it's blocked. At the line of scrimmage by Abraham, number 95 got a hand up. John Abraham misdirected that one, and it's well short. Let's take a break. 7-0 Georgia. 7:39 remaining until halftime. Well, these Georgia cheerleaders have had a lot to cheer about, actually. 7-0, I don't think is really indicative of how they have controlled this first half of the ball.
No, but you have to credit South Carolina's defense. When they needed to stop, they stopped it, and Abraham makes the big play on special team. He's been impressive, Abraham.
Boo Williams comes back at a tailback for the Gamecocks. He gets it right up the middle. He'll take it for about 4 yards. Dustin Lucky defensively. Adrian Karsten, back to you.
Ron, I got to remind you that head coach Lou Holtz has a lot more to do with the offense, even more so needed last week, because his son Skip, over a week ago today, began feeling some major pain in his stomach and developed a fever. With the battle his mother's going through, she immediately thought it was a tumor. It is not. It was just an infection. He's on antibiotics. Saw him pregame. He said he's very, very weak. The place for him is up in the booth listening to them.
Yeah, good point. And with this heat, Adrian, I'm sure he is glad he's able to sit down a little bit. Boo Williams racking hard at the line of scrimmage. Adrian Hollingshead makes the tackle. And Mike Godfrey, let me make a point to you about Hollingshead, number 44. He's a junior from Fort Valley, Georgia. Last year in the South Carolina game was the SEC Defensive Player of the Week for his play in that game. This week on the depth chart, to show you the kind of depth that Jim Donnan is coming up with, he is number 3 at the linebacking spot.
Well, he makes another play like that, he's not going to be 3 again, because he met that play right in the line of scrimmage like a good linebacker should.
Third down, and they need to take it to the 36.5-yard line. Petty continues to roll the pocket, dumps it away. A very dangerous pass. It's short. Hood, the intended receiver, and Earl Chambers was saying, go ahead, I'm going to bait you just a little bit more.
Ron, really, the pattern was really well defended, because as Phil Petty came out to throw the ball, there was no place to go. Hood's trying to go outside, number 9. But look at the linebacker underneath him. You got coverage over top of him. There's nowhere for him to throw. Sitting on him, Hood tries to come back, and now he can't get anything on the football.
Levitt's kick, signal for a fair catch, and made by Patrick Pass. 38 yards in a kick, so let's take a timeout. 6:06 left until halftime. We'll be right back. 7-0, Georgia leads it, and Mike, the clock kept running. That's the reason I was a little uncertain when I threw it to break there, and they're going to leave it there at 6:02, so 4 seconds gone into the night here in Athens, Georgia.
Well, you talk about the mountain to climb for South Carolina. You look at those records versus Florida, Georgia, and Tennessee. Vanderbilt 1-20, Kentucky the same. South Carolina 3-18 since 1992. Ole Miss hasn't played. They're 3-8. They probably like it that they haven't played them as many times as those other guys have.
You fake it to Sanks, the quick out pass, and that ball is dropped. Now, was it a lateral? Nope, they say incomplete pass. Parker Now Quincy's had a couple that have been dropped that maybe receivers were looking to see where they were going to go before they had secured the football.
Yeah, they look a little frustrated on offense. They've had some different patterns that are there, and they just can't. They're dropping the football, or he's overthrowing them, and you just feel like it's a matter of time till they go downfield on South Carolina. Everything's been short. The times they've gone downfield, they've had it. Just Quincy Carter's been a little high with his passes.
Vernon Haynes, number 35, sophomore out of Woodstock, Georgia, comes into the backfield for the Bulldogs. Short drop, got it complete. Quick look into Edwards. Boy, it seems as though that might just work a lot, because you got to give him space, and he doesn't mind going over the middle.
He's got great hands. You see him snatch the ball out of the air. Last played in '97 in Washington County High School. He's a quarterback and defensive back. He's just learned the wide receiver position.
Normally, because they handle it on every play on offense, though, normally quarterbacks have very good hands. And, boy, he has adapted well.
But I just watched him snatch the ball out of the air. That's what you want to see in a receiver. 5
catches for him, Mike, to 30 yards. Blitz is on. Carter's going to have to hurry. Oh, did he get a helping block? He will pick up the first down, and Sanks came back. And I'll tell you, that's respect you have for your fellow running backs. He will go back to the huddle and say, thank you. Watch this.
Number 28, Sanks, is going to see the backer come in, and he's going to be able to turn around and wheel around and make a little hit to spring Quincy Carter for that first down. But again, big plays because Quincy Carter's so quick.
That's a great pickup by Sanks and a terrific athletic reaction. 5:09 left until halftime. 7-0 Georgia. Carter deep over the middle. He's there, and he threw it behind him. And again, McMichael, boy, they're catching him in the seam, and he has been off target on that throw.
But Andre Offing, the linebacker, number 36, is sitting again where you have to throw through him, right here. And now here's the receiver coming right behind Offing, so really there's not a throwing lane. Bad throw, really, by Quincy Carter. Shouldn't have thrown that football.
Passes into the lineup along with Jermaine Phillips. It is a 2nd and 10.
We've got South Carolina outflanked here.
Wide receivers to the top of your screen. Did they get the playoff? No, they did not. That's going to be a delay of game. And Jim Donnan, head goes toward the ground as he knows that Al Ford has just blown the whistle.
Ball was snapped. It was a delay of the game. 5 yards, still 2nd down.
You get the feeling that this officiating crew is well respected because they have this game totally under control. I don't think either coach is not concerned about this officiating group. This is a top group right here.
Oh, I don't think there's any question. And not just in this conference. I think
in
this
America
group is a top group.
Totally in control.
Yep. 2nd down and 15. They need to take it to the 43-yard line. Carter dumps it off. Now there's the big tight end. And McMichael shows that he can quickly pick up extra yardage. Brown and Offing are there to make the tackle. Adrian Karsten, what do you have for us? Well, we'll get back to Adrian on the point that he was about to make.
Well, that was a nice throw by Quincy Carter. He took what the defense gave him. McMichael was sitting out there on a smash route, which means he just 5 yards. He just turns and waits for the football. And Quincy Carter's looking downfield for the big play. He dumps it off to McMichael, and now they got 3rd short.
11 of 21 for 104 yards for Carter. Steps up, got a man wide open over the middle. There's Edwards. Touchdown, Georgia.
They caught him in 2 deep coverage, and what they did is they spread the safeties out, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to hit Edwards against 2 deep. There's the 2 deep corners. Hit him right down the middle for the touchdown.
Hines with the extra point attempt. He has it And with 4:11 until halftime, the Bulldogs have struck again. They now lead 14-0. Let's go away for a moment as you watch Terrence Edwards, the freshman from Tennille, light him up. Edwards now with 6 catches in the ball game. That touchdown good for 47 yards. I think it goes without saying that from now on, as long as he's here, that defensive coaches are going to be checking out number 8, probably with more than one.
I don't think there's any doubt about it, Ron. He's just a very good athlete on the outside.
Kerouac to kick it off. This one's returnable. Boo Williams at the 1-yard line. That's a good kick, though. They really stretched the kick coverage here, but he's going to be stopped before he reaches the 20-yard line.
Williams on the return. He's stopped by number 85.
Well, coming up tonight, ABC College Football goes prime time at 8 o'clock Eastern. Many of you will see UCLA at Ohio State, or Georgia Tech taking on Peter Warwick and top-ranked Florida State. Check your local listings for the game in your area. And even if you're a Buckeye in Buckhead or a Seminole in Santa Monica, you can still see the game you want with the ESPN game plan on pay-per-view. 196 yards last week, 77 this week, and the night is still young. Watson, left side, has 5, has 10, and it is going to be enough for the first down, as he will have about 10.5 yards man defensively.
Mr. Football in South Carolina, we were impressed with him last week. 88 touchdowns in his high school career. Last week, 15 attempts for 123 yards. He's got good quickness. He starts very fast, and when he hits the hole, he explodes.
Carlos Spikes into the lineup, number 10, wide receiver. He is to the bottom of your screen. The inside receiver for the Gamecocks. The 42-yard line is Brian Scott, tackled immediately by Corey Robinson.
Phil Petty just has to get some confidence at the quarterback position. Every coach you talk to at South Carolina, they believe in Phil Petty. You know, his senior year in high school, he threw for 26 touchdown passes, so they know he can do it. They just want him to settle down and get the ball downfield.
2 plays, 2 first downs, South Carolina. Clock runs with 3 minutes, 10 seconds left until halftime. Watson gets the handoff, breaks by 1 tackle as he's hit in the backfield, and then he is smothered. OG is what they call him, Orantis Grant. And downfield, some scuffling going on at around the 40-yard line, some chicken fighting between the receivers and the defensive backs.
Well, these two teams, I'm not sure they like each other because there's a lot of that going on in this ball game. Right here is exactly what you're talking about, Ron. Larry Mann, it's a physical football game. Georgia went out in pads on Wednesday. They usually go out in sweatsuits, but they went out in pads because they felt like it was going to be a physical football game.
Good thing they did, because their practice almost got rained out on Thursday with this late afternoon storm. Pressure on Petty, and he just throws that one away.
Nobody blocked Terrence Smith, number 85. A bust in protection.
All right, now, here is an example of depth that they are building defensively on that front four. Lucky, Stroud, Seymour, and Jacobs start. But we have already seen Adrien, Miller, Robertson, and Evans, and Terrence Smith is their pass rusher, the 9th guy that we have seen on the defensive front.
And Millard, who we haven't seen yet, was a big-time pass rusher for Georgia last year.
So it's 3rd down. They need to take it to the 47.5-yard line, and a timeout.
No, they just trying to set the ball.
Okay, setting the ball. I thought my partner was saying timeout. Petty, heavy pressure on him. He's going to be sacked, and it's Seymour. Do you think that's not big for him? He's a junior, and his home, Gadsden, South Carolina. And as a junior, he was elected a team captain. That's a big deal at a school this big.
Ron, what you want is, Kevin Ramsey said that about Seymour. He said he's going to be an All-American and he's seen a lot of good defensive linemen at Tennessee, but you want your defensive linemen to create a new line of scrimmage, and that's what Seymour does.
Timeout has been taken, 14-0 Georgia. We'll be back in just a moment. We are back as they get the kick away to Patrick. Pass, gets one block, gets a second, turns the corner, and his own man takes him down at the 29. Oh my goodness, that's Bell, the linebacker, who was coming over to block. And South Carolina needs to send a thank you note. He might have scored.
Kendall Bell, the linebacker, reminds me of a kid at Cincinnati, Mike Woods, who was the first draft choice of the Baltimore Colts. He was a linebacker at the University of Cincinnati. He's just like this kid. He was active all over the place, and you can see Bell just flying around, and that's what Mike Woods used to do.
You know, and they had only like one white shirt in front of them up the sideline as they had taken it from right in the middle of the field. Sanks will spin his way for a couple. And now let's see if Georgia is content to run this thing out and head to the locker room.
I wouldn't think so, Ron. I think they're letting some time get away here, but I think they're going to throw the football here, and then they'll use their timeouts a little bit. They're a little deliberate, though. A lot deliberate.
Well, I just started to say, Mike, how about just a whole lot?
With Quincy Carter, I don't know if you sit on any time.
Terrence Edwards, of course, is the man that South Carolina will be keeping an eye on. He's to the bottom of your screen, but they go with the running play. And Sanks is close to the 40-yard line, and Green makes the tackle on him. Now we're about to go under 60 seconds until halftime.
Get the first down here, Ron. They'll use those timeouts. Of course, the timeout, because the first down will set them up.
Georgia to the line of scrimmage quickly, and Carter took it straight ahead, and in my imagination, I thought he went down to one knee first.
No, what happened is Miles Lucky must have not known it was a quarterback sneak. They're wasting a lot of time here.
It's fourth down unless they bring in the chains.
No,
I swear to you, I thought he went down on one knee.
No, I'll tell you exactly what happened. Miles Lucky thought it was a pass. This is not what Jim Donnan wants to end the half with. This has not been good here. But Miles Lucky was looking like it was a pass, and Quincy Carter couldn't run. He couldn't get by him on the quarterback sneak.
So the situation is there is no measurement because it's fourth down and inches. South Carolina's taken the timeout, and 34 seconds left on the clock.
Well, I think when you have Quincy Carter, and I think this just happened, Jim Donnan was trying to get a couple running plays, but when you have a Quincy Carter, anytime on the clock, you got the ability to score.
Brian Kenny, let's check with you quickly.
All right, coming up on the Buick halftime report, we have the big scare for Penn State. We have, can Colorado bounce back as well today? And we'll take a look at Florida State and Georgia Tech coming up tonight. John Makovic, Rod Gilmore will join me, Buick halftime report, in just a few seconds, guys.
All righty, so early into the season, and a couple of surprises last week and a near shocker today.
Ron, I hate to see the Penn State-Pittsburgh series end. I heard somebody say today it's like the West Virginia-Syracuse series for Penn State. It's not the same. Penn State need to play.
The left footer's kick, not real long, but South Carolina has run away from it. And then one of their special teams guys almost ran into it. Only 35 yards, but nothing on the return.
Now I think South Carolina will kill the clock. They've gone, if they complete this 26 seconds, 6 quarters without scoring here in the opening part of the season. Lou has to feel pretty good only being down 14-0 here. Georgia had some chances early.
Particularly when they got the ball at the 41-yard line after the interception to start the game, and only moved it 4 yards. The drive wound up on the 37 because of the clipping penalty. If they keep it on the ground, Watson into the secondary. Chambers, who's had a very good first half, up from that safety spot to make the tackle, and they could head to the locker room now because they don't have to run another play. And Georgia obviously is not going to stop the clock. 7 seconds down to 6 and now 5. And we are at halftime here in Athens, Georgia. With our score, Georgia 14 and South Carolina nothing. Now the Buick halftime report. Here's Brian Kenny, John Makovic, and Rod Gilmore. Gentlemen.
All right, Ron, thank you.
Georgia leads at 14-0 as we prepare to start the second half. And Mike Gottfried, in looking at the first half, other than domination by Georgia throughout, South Carolina did have one drive where they really were threatening, had run the ball well. And lo and behold, they turned the ball over again.
Turnovers, turnovers, turnovers. That's the story of South Carolina right now. On the other side of the ball, Georgia's had flashes, but they've made some mistakes and haven't been able to capitalize on all the offensive situations they've been put in. Quincy Carter, running ability in the first half. He shows you he can make a bad play into a good play, and then all of a sudden he finds Terrence Edwards on a couple short throws and then bombs away. Terrence Edwards for the touchdown. His passing, charging, and see how many short throws he's made, Ron, against two deep coverage. You look at, he's 9 out of 15 inside of 15 yards. Of course, he hit the big touchdown down the middle, but South Carolina's been giving him the flats. He's been taking it.
The stats in the first half, that pretty well sums it up. Over 2-1. Passing yardage very much in favor of Georgia. Rushing yardage is equal, and the 2 turnovers.
Yeah, and the third down conversions. I said about South Carolina last week, they averaged 3 out of 18. They were 16%. They're off to a bad start here. 2 out of 7 on third down conversions.
As you look at Quincy, the defensive leaders also, South Carolina, Atkins, 8 tackles, all of them solo. Faison with 3. Mann leads the way for Georgia with 4, and Seymour with 3. This return from the 10-yard line. Patrick pass, and he breaks it out, runs into his own guy, and still fighting. Let's see where they give him forward progress. I got to say the 29. Adrian Karsten, what do you have for us?
Ron, the direction from Lou Holtz to his team at halftime was basically this. Early, real soon in the second half, we got to make something good happen to our team because, you know, Georgia's made some mistakes. They've given us the opportunity, but we can't drop the ball anymore. Talent-wise, we're just not good enough to play with these guys probably straight up. The other thing is, Ron, I see some hanging heads coming out of the South Carolina locker room. When you lose 11 in a row and that losing streak stretches over 2 years, you're going to see some hanging heads, but they got to make something happen early here now.
Good point, Adrian. Sacks. We're getting an outside block from Thad Parker. Parker's only 158 pounds, but he was staying with his guy, and House finally tripped him up.
Ron, just talking about what Adrian's talking about there, what Lou Holtz and his staff have to find, though, is the good things. There are some good things. You mentioned good drive. You just can't let the turnovers and some mistakes that you make just glare out at you. There's some good things, and you just got to put the good things together for 4 quarters, then you win a game.
As you can see from that graphic, Coach Holtz looking for his first win over Georgia. He was 0-2 when he was at NC State. I'm not sure if he got that first down or not from where they have spotted it here. Maybe a half-yard shy as Harney came up and corralled Jasper Sanks.
A lot of people over here in between the hedges in the coaching careers.
Turning into a really pleasant evening as the wind has picked up some and the sun behind some clouds. It's become very comfortable for the youngsters. First down, Georgia, as they scrimmage from just across their own 39-yard line. And I'm not so sure early, if I'm Georgia, if I wouldn't just go on top to number 8 again and see what's there. This one too far for Johnson, is tied in.
Carter's pass incomplete, intended for Johnson. Green with the coverage.
Just not clicking on offense. Just that's a play that we've seen so much in the first half. Just throw it out, the outstretched hands, and just not making connection.
Well, as the offense breaks the huddle, you can see ESPN's 1st and 10 line. It's a computer-generated image drawn across the field to let you know the line to make for a first down. That still will not change me from using the line I always do, which is the line to make, which is the 49.5-yard line. Pressure, got it, middle screen right up in the middle to Parker. Hang on. Didn't take him long to get over the 50, did it? I mean, he is a water bug, and his big quarterback, Quincy Carter, went down after he delivered that 13-yard strike.
Well, you like to, on a quick screen, block the lineman first before you turn him loose. Matt Marsters had a shot at Quincy Carter, which Jim Donovan's not going to like. But Thad Parker, you're right, Ron, 5'9", 158. Here, you can't let him go like that. But Thad Parker, the little receiver just explodes it.
So they move to change the ball at the 47.5, and it's another throwback screen, this time to Edwards. You see him gets a block from Stinchcomb, and it turns it up the sideline. That will be another first down, and it was close to being much more than that.
Yeah, Ron, they're getting the flat. The short passing game is there, and then you pick up a nice block by Stinchcomb. 78 shows you redshirt freshman. Brother played last year. He sets it up. Terrence Edwards does a nice job. Oh, he waits on the block. Watch, there's 78. Sets him up again. Now dips in, dips outside, picks up more yardage. Faison just kept it in front of him.
Stinchcomb had a knee injury, didn't get to play last year, redshirt. And of course, we all know that his brother was an All-American here, was taken in the first round. As Sanks spins his way to the 28, Brown finally puts the stop on him.
More mixture in the drive right here. A mix of quick passing game, the running game. Quincy Carter calling a good game now at the line of scrimmage. Jim Donnan sending them in. Quincy Carter looking at his wristband and making the adjustments at the line of scrimmage. Nice drive. If they can finish it off.
Two tight ends, Johnson and McMichael. Inside the 20, 1st and 10 at the 18-yard line. And again, Stinchcomb is the man that they run behind.
Ron, the missing ingredient in this program. I mentioned it early. They lost 3 big games last year because they couldn't run the football. Stinchcomb, this offensive line, has to develop an attitude to run the football. And Jasper Sanks looks like he's a guy that could take over the one-back set here for the Bulldogs.
John, 6'5", 272 from Lilburn, Georgia. Sanks now 11 carries for 61 yards. Little counter play. In fact, I wasn't sure if they were going to find each other for that handoff. Little counter action.
I tell you, South Carolina was coming with a blitz. Abraham was coming off the corner. It's a good thing he did find him. But Kenny Harney, with a big game last week against NC State, he had a sack, and he was the leading tackler. He made that tackle on that play. It was a slow developing play.
Yes, it was. 8 plays, 55 yards so far on the drives. You can see Georgia up 14-0, and Lou Holtz knows he does not need his home crowd to enjoy a 21-0 lead. Blitz coming right up the middle. Carter throws it back, and way too tall for Thad Parker.
He had what he wanted, Quincy Carter. He knew the blitz was coming. He knew he had man coverage. He just forced it a little too quickly as he came out. Play was there, but he knew he was going to get heat from the backside, so he wanted to deliver it a little quicker. Here's where you don't want to stall for Jim Donnan. Of course, Lou Holtz hoping they can hold him to a field goal attempt.
Third down, and the line to make is the 9-yard line. And it's an option play as the pitch goes back inside the 5 to Patrick Pass. Green makes the stop, and the crowd wants him to go for it rather than go for the field goal.
John Abraham makes him pitch the ball quickly. Ray Green, a nice defensive back play. You got the game completely in hand. You have confidence in your defense. Why not? South Carolina, I know you're saying you'd kick it. I think I agree with the call. You got him on the run right now. Try to put him away.
Yeah, there's movement at the line of scrimmage. McMichael came out of his stance, and that's going to make a decision for them. Instead of a 4th down at about 1.5 yards, they're going to have 4th down at about 6.5.
Movement. Offense. Still 4th down.
No decision now. You kick the field goal. When you're dominating a team like they are, South Carolina, you want to get them out of it. You want to get them out of here. You don't want to settle for a field goal.
33-yard field goal attempt by Hap Hines. As we mentioned back in the first half, his career longest is 54. Good pass and plenty of distance on this one, and he splits it. Let's take a timeout. 11:37 left in the third, and our new score, the Bulldogs 17 and the Gamecocks nothing. ESPN2's presentation of college football is brought to you by the 1999 Mercuries. Imagine yourself in a Mercury. And by 10-10-220. Dial it and talk up to 20 minutes for only 99 cents. We are back in Athens, Georgia. Ron Franklin, Mike Gottfried, and Adrian Karsten, along with Uga 6, who was ushered in today. Uga 5 retired. And Uga 6 has not been very far away from those bags of ice all day. As I said, it was a warm time to start.
He's going to go that sweater off.
That's a smart dog.
And that one does go out of bounds, so it will be scrimmage from the 35-yard line. Brian Kenny, let's check with you.
All right, Ron, here we go. Purdue leading Notre Dame. Final moments, 28-23. See the time left in the game, final minute. Joey Goodspeed from Jarius Jackson is in. He fumbles the ball. It's ruled down. One official does rule touchdown, but it's not a touchdown. He's down at the 1. So from there, you've got a 3rd and goal. No timeouts left for the Irish. Jarius Jackson going back, and he's brought down, and time runs off the clock. That'll do it. Purdue over Notre Dame. Joe Tiller is 2-1 against the Irish. Ron?
Ron, that's a young football team, Notre Dame. I was at practice Wednesday. They're going to make those kind of mistakes. They got growing pains. They're back, though. They've got some good players.
As I mentioned, that penalty will take it to the 35 for them to scrimmage. And South Carolina incomplete, as Hood should have had the football. Had the play worked to perfection, threw it a little low, and he couldn't hold on.
Ron, this is a series that you expect South Carolina. They have to do something here. You and I talked in the break. This is the time of the game. Lou Holtz has got to get his team down the field and score some points here, or they could be faced with a runaway.
Down 17 here in Athens. Still 11:26 to play in the third. You're right. A couple of more miscues, and this thing could get out of hand quickly.
The thing about Notre Dame, their schedule is so tough. They got Michigan State next week. They do not get a break. They've got one of the toughest schedules in the country this year.
Well, now Georgia wants to call a timeout. Are they going to be charged with one, I would assume, because the youngster had to tie his shoe, and they will be charged with a timeout. So Henderson ties his shoe, and we'll take 60. We'll be right back. All right. 17-0 Georgia. And let me correct, a very serious error that I made a moment ago. That's 5 on the right, who has been retired. Uga 6 is over close to the air-conditioned doghouse, and 5, the veteran, is the one who's out of the air-conditioned doghouse and is in fact wallowing in the ice. That's a veteran for you, Mike.
Oh yeah, he knows how to stay cool.
Williams finally bumped out of bounds just shy of the 40-yard line by Corey Robinson. Adrian Karsten, let's check with you.
Well, Ron, this is what happens when your mascot, after 10 years, and you have to forgive him, gets a little arthritis. So Uga the 5th, after only appearing on the cover of Sports Illustrated, appearing in a blockbuster movie, is finally retired. Like father to son, the collar has officially been passed. Now, son, who is 10 years younger, is 11 pounds heavier, and I'm told faster and a bit meaner. And his offspring, who hasn't even been conceived, bid $8,500 on him.
Sorry, Adrian. 5 was eating nice. Big pressure by Grant, and that ball is dropped by Williams.
Dustin Lucky got his hands on that football. Phil Petty just couldn't get it over top of Dustin Lucky. Not good news for the South Carolina offense.
One other note, Adrian, on Uga 5, 65-34 its record, and no championships.
They're looking for bigger things out of the young guy.
Levitt, they got it. Bell has done everything. Interception, sack, recovered a fumble.
You have a feel for blocking He blocked 3 kicks in junior college.
Kendrick Bell.
Levitt continues to have problems.
We had mentioned during the timeout we were talking that he had 5 kicks blocked in his career. Now it's 6, and he really was slow on this one.
High snap. They had the punt block last week against North Carolina State, and you just invite it, Ron, when you get one blocked.
Play action, looking deep over the middle. Edwards is there, and it is almost intercepted by Brown.
Edwards did a nice job here, Ron. If I saw what I thought I saw, Edwards became a defensive back and knocked that ball away.
He's got cramps, Mike. Edwards, I don't know if he's going to go back to the huddle or not. He stopped with a very stiff left leg. And now he's trotting back, and the Bulldogs have another player down at the 34 who is Sanks.
Well, Quincy Carter trying to get it all. After a turnover, that's what a lot of offensive coaches want to do. Go downtown and try to ruin the quick change of the defensive team coming on the field.
Sanks has got cramps. That's what they were working on. And I mentioned the fact that Edwards also, and he's going to come off the field, and he's walking very stiff-legged because he's suffering from cramps. So we talked about the very high humidity and the heat early to start this ball game and taking its toll on 2 of the guys who have played a lot. Pass will come in replacing Sanks at running back. It is a 2nd and 10. Well, here come the safeties. Not much surprise there. Option play, pass. Boy, he puts a shoulder pad down into Sheldon Brown.
That's the kind of call you like when you get the safety blitzes up inside, kick it outside on the option play.
I'm sure what Jim Donnan does not care for, though, and a few boos from the crowd, is Carter went down hard, but when you're a ball carrier, you're not protected at all.
What they also saw in the replay was maybe a face mask.
You could see Edwards standing in front of the big fan down on the sideline trying to cool off. 3rd down, line to make is the 17 of South Carolina. Carter will not, yes he will, get away from Abraham. Then Abraham is taken out of the play and the pass overthrown at the 5-yard line.
John Abraham, Ron, South Carolina now, they have an All-American candidate in this outside linebacker. He shows you his speed. 13 quarterback pressures last year. He runs a 4.440. He was a high school sprinter, won the regional 100 and 220. Shows you great speed chasing Quincy Carter.
And he doesn't quit, and it cost him, Mike. He comes up hard behind the quarterback trying to get him again, and a comeback block took him out. 4th down, they'll go for it. In and out of the hands of Patrick Pass. That's about 4 passes that have been dropped today that should have been caught by Georgia receivers. A lot of dropped
passes by the receivers and running backs. Not a good series for Georgia, but an excellent series for the South Carolina defense. Now get their offense back on the field, and still a chance, still in this ball game. That's something to build on, Ron, right there. You get a block punt, your defense comes in, you hold Georgia out. Good pressure by Abraham.
An audible. Plenty of time in the play clock, though. Snapped it at 5. Lobs the pass out, and he's got it complete to Hood. Out across the 40 to the 44. It's good for 22 yards.
Jeff Harris got turned around here, Ron, the defensive back against Kerry Hood. He never really got settled, and I don't think he read the eyes of Kerry Hood, because when the receiver looks up, you turn your head and you look up for the football. But he just got turned around here, and a nice throw by Phil Petty. You're going to see number 13. He just overran it. Didn't feel the receiver.
Hood has got 2 receptions for 44. Here's the option. Boy, they almost lost more than the football there. Tony Gilbert is back to take Watson totally out of the play, but that pitch could have been picked off and scored with.
Something's happening to tip off Georgia when they're running the option, because they read the option. That's about the third option, and they beat the football to the pitch man.
Line of scrimmage is the 36, second and 19.
Second and 19. You got to take it down to the Georgia 45.5-yard line. Georgia leads it 17-0. Under 10 to play, third quarter. Good protection this time, but it breaks down and he's sacked. That's Orontis Grant. Dennis Petty is injured. He is down at the 30-yard line and he is favoring his knee.
Scott Brown's down.
I beg your pardon, it is Brown. It's 50 rather than 14 Petty.
Orontis Grant, who lettered as a true freshman in 1996, a very active linebacker. Number 58 comes around and just beat the block of the tackle, made the tackle on Phil Petty. A more aggressive defense. This is Kevin Ramsey right here, the Georgia defensive coordinator. Joe Kynes is on the sideline. He was the defensive coordinator for many years here. An excellent football coach. He moved aside, brought in Kevin Ramsey. Kevin's now the coordinator, but Joe's the assistant head coach, and they worked well together. They got Rodney Garner on that staff too. They want a more aggressive defense this year. They want to try to create a new line of scrimmage and create turnovers.
Laurel Johnson, number 73, a sophomore out of Tampa, Florida, comes in at center for South Carolina. As Scott Brown goes to the sideline.
Third down, 26.
Well, you got a new center in here. Let's see if Seymour and Stroud get busy right here.
Third down. Going to be sacked by Seymour. Third sack of the day by Georgia.
Anytime a backup center comes in, you know the defensive linemen are thinking sack. Richard Seymour worked right over Johnson and got the sack on Phil Petty.
11 had the last one blocked. And they're coming after him again, but this time a nice job of picking it up. End over end on the kick. Pass gets by the first man at the 40, and he gets tattooed at the 44.
Stop just shy of the 45.
So there's a break in the action. 8:29 in the third. Georgia by 17. We'll be right back. Well, Laurel Johnson is snapping the football on the sideline. That's Mikal Goodman, the backup quarterback, who is receiving the snaps, because Scott Brown is on the medics table across the way, and the doctors are checking out his knee, and we'll get a report from Adrian on him momentarily. Meanwhile, Patrick Pass hit by Abraham and is tackled after a gain of about 1.
Ron, you got to be impressed with John Abraham.
Oh, he has been everywhere now.
Last week, they used him as a primary blitzer at North Carolina State. He was in their backfield. He was a defensive lineman last year. They moved him to linebacker in the spring. Talked to several pro scouts. They're watching him very closely to see how he makes the adjustment. He's passing. 6'4", 250, a senior.
Carter in a shotgun formation. Just to his left is Patrick Pass. Got it right over the middle, and that's the tight end McMichael. Adrian, what do you have for us on the injury?
Took the orthopedic surgeon for South Carolina about 90 seconds to determine a torn anterior cruciate ligament for Scott Brown. He's not only done for this game run, but probably for the season.
Wow. And you know, thanks, Adrian. That's a good, quick work. We talked at length last week about the shortest number on this football team for South Carolina with the offensive linemen. So elementary to say they can't afford to lose any, and they now lose their starting center.
Laurel Johnson now has to step up, the sophomore.
Quick pass, got that one to Johnson. That'll be enough for the first down at the 43-yard line.
The other thing Georgia does offensively, they use their tight ends. We talked about last year they had Wiggins and Brown, and they used him quite effectively. And all of a sudden now you got a redshirt freshman, McMichael, and Johnson, a junior, stepping up, and they're primary targets for Quincy Carter. A lot of coaches don't use the tight ends in the passing game. Why, I don't know, but Georgia certainly does.
6:50 left to play in this third quarter. Georgia's 17-0 and driving again. Option play and the pitch to pass. Well, that's a nice job as far as an angle by Faison, as he looked as though he was going to get the corner turn, but it was back into the short side of the field, and Georgia with a player down at the 31.
Miles Lucky, the center on the other team.
Mm-hmm. And immediately Kurt McGill, number 54, a sophomore out of Snellville, Georgia, will come into the lineup.
You're always concerned when you lose your center about the next snap, because it's not like relief pitchers in baseball where they can come in and throw. They're standing over the whole sideline the whole game.
Since Quincy is not under center as much as normal quarterbacks, is it as tough with the shotgun
I think
snap?
it's a little easier for the shotgun.
3 wide receivers to the top of the screen. You see the blitz coming up the middle. Carter gets it off to Johnson, is tight end, breaks a tackle, breaks another, loses the football, and it's been picked up by Abraham of South Carolina, and that ball is alive and finally knocked out of bounds by Steve Herndon just around the 50-yard line.
Building blocks to build on. You don't quit. Sheldon Brown caused a fumble, and then John Abraham shows you why he was a sprinter in high school. Picked that ball up, looked like a running back. Here's the completion to Johnson. Sheldon Brown going to strip the football. John Abraham, now he becomes a running back. He remembers when he was a sprinter in high school.
Look how far, look at that ball out there.
There's the strip. There's the strip by Sheldon Brown. South Carolina with great field position.
Safety's creeping up for Georgia. Watson hit into backfield. Stroud, a part of the game clock black backfield, and I'm telling you, he's knocked down for about a 3-4 yard loss. Let's see what they say officially here. And they're going to say only a loss of 1, as they'll spot it at the 44.5 yard line. 6 minutes to go, third quarter. That man right there has got to be their defensive player of the game. No question about that.
He's going to be their most valuable player all year on defense.
He may be the MVP of the ball game, for that matter, for South Carolina. This drive starting at the 46, by the way, Mike, the best start for South Carolina on the night. Middle screen, overthrew it. Brian Kenny, let's check with you.
All right, Ron, let's check in now. Florida and Central Florida. Pick it up. Central Florida trying to punt. Look at it. Blocked by Todd Johnson. Marquise Westbrook recovers. That's a Gator touchdown. It's 34-7. But, hey, Central Florida coming back. Vic Penn to Charles Lee. He's going in. And Gator defense allowed 405 yards to Western Michigan last week. And they got Tennessee this coming week.
Third down. They need to take it to the 44-yard line. Here comes the pressure. Steps up, got a man wide open, and he got it at the 30-yard line. Hood. Mike, he was so open he had to wait on him. He was behind him.
What made the play, Ron, is Phil Petty felt the pressure around him, and watch him step up. The pressure comes from the outside. He steps up in the pocket and makes this throw to Kerry Hood. Man coverage, had him in man coverage. Corey Robinson on him. Watch him step up. He slides up inside like a good quarterback, using his feet, his eyes, completes the ball to Kerry Hood.
That's good for 28 yards. Hood now 3 receptions for 73. Watson back into the boundary. Hit by Hollingshead, one of the first men to knock him to the ground.
You know Lou Holtz and Skip Holtz and this whole offensive staff wants to get on the board. They don't want to go into the next ball game not having scored a touchdown or not putting points on the board. All of a sudden that starts to be the question you answer every week. When are you going to score?
Brewer, number 21, comes in at running back. Petty to the end zone. Nicely tipped away Corey Robinson. Gilbert with good pressure on the quarterback that time.
Corey Robinson's having a big start to the season.
He really is.
3 interceptions, a fumble recovery, and deflecting footballs all over the place. Phil Petty trying to go downtown Athens here for the score. Good coverage.
Third down, they need to take it to the 17. Was down 17-0. There's another down for them after this one. Draw play, and there's Brewer. Big opening, has the first down, and he is at the 11-yard line.
Very good call, Ron. Everybody expecting pass. Kevin Ramsey sent the blitz from the outside, hit a draw right inside of it.
Good for 14 yards. Brewer ran the ball well last week, Mike.
Mr. Ohio football, a big recruit for South Carolina. Out of Troy, Ohio.
Well, look at him protect that football. First down just outside the 10. Brewer loses the football. He made his own recovery at the 10.5. And Gilbert is the guy, I believe, who also made the tackle and stripped it.
Redshirt freshman, 6 foot, 222 pounds. He tried to take it away from him. Tried to strip the football. Number 42 is going to come in your picture. Takes on the block. Put his hands right on that football. Caused it to come out.
Neesmith is the only setback this time, number 40. And Petty wants a timeout. Game clock. Actually, the play clock was at like 4 seconds, so let's take a break. 3:12 left in the third. 17-0. Georgia, South Carolina. 17-0. Boy, this crowd has really gotten noisy during the timeout.
Don't want to take a sack here if you're Phil Petty.
Puts it up immediately for the corner of the end zone and almost intercepted by Corey Robinson.
Good coaching right here by Kevin Ramsey. Figured the fade was coming. They went back and looked at all Connecticut game film. They watched even as far back as '94 Notre Dame film. And they saw the fade possibility coming here. So they sit a corner back in the fade area right here. Corey Robinson. Lucky for South Carolina, he didn't pick it off.
That was a dream. Bruce, a dream, number 94. He jumped in his face and had his hands up. Third down, South Carolina. Here comes the blitz. Hurries it away, and he misthrows it. Trying to get Carlos Spikes. Now it'll be fourth down, and that means that Levitt will come on to try to get him on the scoreboard. Scores, Mike, for the trivia buffs out there. The last time a Holtz team scored was November of 1996 over Southern California.
Well, he scored last year. That's some good lines on TV.
Got his kick, and he makes it. So with 2 minutes and 58 seconds left in the third quarter, our new score is Georgia 17 and South Carolina 3. And let's go down to the sideline at Adrian Karsten. Adrian?
Ron, quite honestly, Lou Holtz was a different coach that last offensive drive. After the turnover, the way they moved down the field, obviously to say we haven't seen since Notre Dame is obvious because we've only seen one other game of his. But the videotape we've seen, the way he's worked with the offensive line since practice, even at age 62, he really turned down the emotion here. Headsets on, headsets off. He's talking to his son upstairs. He couldn't move fast enough or pick enough grass during that last drive, Ron.
Okay, Adrian. And right now it's time for the Olive Grove storyline of the ball game. Olive Garden storyline of the game. 2 South Carolina turnovers, 1 blocked punt. Quincy Carter, 17 of 32 for 209 yards. And you see what Edwards has done, 7 receptions for 90 yards. Total yards, 308 Georgia, and South Carolina 144. That's the Olive Garden storyline.
I like the Olive Garden. Good food. Tiramisu's good there. Ron, what happened with Georgia, as soon as they scored that field goal, Georgia, Jim Donnan got his team around him. And I think I know exactly what he was saying. We've come too far not to let these guys back in the game. We're kind of slowing down here a little bit. We need to get back in this football game.
And it's an onside kick. It did not go 10 yards.
They had it too.
Yeah, they did.
They had it set up.
Georgia had backed off on the near side.
Had it set up perfect. John Fabris, the special teams coach, saw something in the Georgia kicking game. Came with an onside kick, just didn't go far enough. See, they're in great shape right here. This guy's blocked out, shielded out right here. Kevin House got a shot. If it goes 10 yards, they've got the football.
So Georgia takes it over just inside the South Carolina 45-yard line. Grant in a tailback. And he's going to fall forward for a couple of yards, and that's it. And let's check it again with Brian Kenny.
All right, thank you, Ron. Fresno State and Oregon State. Derek Ward, Fresno State, is going to come in, and he's going to snuff out this punt. Pierre Sams will recover. Dennis Erickson and Oregon State had the lead. They don't have it anymore. 14-13. Ron, Mike?
All righty.
WAC needs some good news. Fresno's pretty good football team. Pat Hill.
It's a good ball game on Thursday night. Colorado State at BYU. Blitz coming right up the middle. There's the middle screen. And Parker gets turned around, and then he is going to be tackled for sure by Harney. And they had the right play called at the right time.
Sheldon Brown, the safety, he read this from the start. He came up, he just didn't make the tackle, but he was in great shape. Number 24, Sheldon Brown's going to read the screen right now. He comes up, just doesn't wrap up, make the tackle, but he stops Thad Parker.
So it's 3rd down. And Georgia again with a 3rd down and long situation. See those safeties creeping up. Carter drills the pass. Incomplete. Too short.
They're getting frustrated on offense. They just not hitting on all cylinders. They're going to punt South Carolina in the hole.
Bo Williams will drop off to around his 10-yard line. Only the 3rd punt of the afternoon by Wynn Kopp. Timeout was called by South Carolina.
12 men on the field. Fortunate to get the timeout called.
So, Mike, they call the timeout. They don't get the penalty for the 12 men on the field, which obviously would have cost them, and another mistake on the side of the ledger for South Carolina. What Lou Holtz is going through here this afternoon is something that we talked about last week, and that is the SEC and how very difficult this conference is, but particularly playing in the East.
Well, the East, what you expect is South Carolina. Who are you going to jump ahead of? Somebody has to come back to you. It's either got to be Florida, Tennessee, or Georgia. Georgia's recruiting real well. Tennessee's doing a great job. Philip Fulmer may be the best head coach recruiting in the country, and Spurrier is not going to let down there. So it's going to be a tough division for Lou Holtz to crack.
Well, as we mentioned off the top of the telecast this afternoon, tonight he gets Georgia, and then he has Tennessee and Florida on consecutive weekends later on in the season. Here's the left footer's kick. Very high, and it's a knuckleball. Fair catch is called for and made at the 22.
Williams.
Coming up tomorrow at 8:15 Eastern, the preseason premiere of ESPN Sunday Night Football, and the long-awaited return of the Cleveland Browns as they host arch-rival Pittsburgh. Then at ABC's Monday Night Football, the Dolphins battle the Broncos. They'll retire number 7 in honor of John Elway. ESPN and ABC, your exclusive home for primetime NFL football.
Ron, you just get the feeling here of the year is going on of the Georgia football team. They're just not performing up to what Jim Donnan wants them to. They got a little lead and they're sitting on it.
Good in motion to the top of your screen. And the pressure, and I mean in the backfield, 97. Stroud has just been all over the place. He has been unblockable many times today.
Frustrates you as a coach because you know you're a lot better than this team. Nobody blocking Marcus Stroud, and that's pretty difficult to do, seeing as how he's 6'6", 300. Not to see him.
6 tackles for him today. Would have been more, but some of those other defenders are so hungry they've gotten to the ball carrier first. Fakes it to Watson, and on the play action, far sideline, almost intercepted, knocked away by Chambers as he had great field position.
Good-looking secondary for Georgia. Earl Chambers, a senior. Got a lot of seniors and juniors in the secondary. They play about 7 to 8 defensive backs.
I believe that's Trevon Matthews, a redshirt senior out of Summerville, South Carolina, who is shaken up right there on the South Carolina sideline. He was the intended receiver.
And Ron, he's caught 7 career passes. 4 have been for touchdowns, so pretty good receiving threat that they're trying to get the football to. Talking about the secondary, Kirby Smart, we ran into him the other day. He's now GA here, so was not only a very smart and good football player, but now he's into his coaching career here at Georgia.
Third down, and they need to take it out to the 32.5-yard line to keep this one going. Less than a minute to play, third quarter. It's been a very long one.
New center, Ron, or guard. They stepped on the foot of Phil Petty.
So again, Georgia stands to get very good field position. Do you put on a return, Mike, or do you go after it?
No, I'd go after it. You try to generate some, you got to get your football team going here. Laurel Johnson, the center, stepped on Petty's foot. I'd go after him.
Levin gets a snap, gets this one away. And with that, you can hear the horn sounding. That is the end of the third quarter. So let's take a break. When we come back, the final 15 minutes from Athens with Georgia on top, 17-3. We'll be right back. Boy, gorgeous sunset here in Athens. As I said, the night falling on us and really cooling off a little bit. But the bad thing about it is, as Mike Gottfried has pointed out, what also has cooled off has been the effort by the Georgia offense in the second half. Pitches to Patrick Pass. It's Johnson blocking in front, and they just strung it out. Never got the corner turned as Faison is there.
And that's a nice job when you can take a toss sweep and make them run parallel, as Rashad Faison did in the defensive line. Kalimba Edwards is really the key target.
Well, time of possession. Well, now getting a little bit closer. You can see the passing yardage there, 209. So Georgia had 310 yards through the first 45 minutes of this one. Second down, drills it, has it complete to Johnson, the tight end, and again Carter got smacked to the ground. There was Abraham.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of room to fit that football in because Corey Atkins was sitting right on number 48. Johnson, but the strength of Quincy Carter's arm got the ball right in there. You see John Abraham having a great football game. Here's the ball thrown to Johnson.
Mike, young John Stinchcomb is getting his baptism truly under fire with Abraham out there moving around on his side some.
He'll be glad to see him graduate.
3 catches for 35 yards for Johnson. Short drop, quick look in, and he's got it complete to Phillips. Now that time they looked right on as far as the rhythm of that play.
Ron, cushion's too big here, and that's exactly what Quincy Carter looks out. Look at how deep off of Jermaine Phillips. Too much cushion. They hit the slant, double slant. All you can do is make the tackle. Kevin House.
Bulldogs, you can see the ball just outside the 28. Sanks has 5, has 10, and that is going to be about 10 and a half, maybe 11 yards in the play as Harney finally stops him. Sanks a load on that one.
He looks good. Now, Jasper Sanks has had a pretty good ball game. I'm looking for number 19 now. Charles Grant, you're getting in his area right now. The impressive big guy, the little refrigerator, to come in here.
Well, he's waiting patiently on the sideline.
Need to get a little closer.
But they're refilling him with Freon there. Sanks turns the corner. Flag is down at the line of scrimmage, and a player down for Georgia also.
Holding on McMichael. Ron, when you look at this Georgia football team, and Quincy Carter's only played 1 year, I don't think he gets the respect around the country that he deserves, because I think he may be the best quarterback in the country. But
Holding during the run, 10 yards, still first down.
Until you beat the big teams, and Quincy Carter, you can see 0 touchdowns passes against Tennessee, Florida, and Georgia Tech. That's when he'll probably be recognized a little bit more nationally, when he beats a Tennessee or beats a Florida or beats Georgia Tech. So, but I think he's off to a great career, and he's going to be a wonderful college football player and a great pro football player.
First down following that penalty. You can see it out to the 26. Here's the quarterback draw. And he very wisely goes down at the 44 as Harney was right there about to attack him, and that'll make it a second down at about 12. Adrian Karsten, what do you have for us?
Ron, a solid point that you and Mike are making, because as the fourth quarter started here, all the Georgia players, as I'm walking behind their bench, are reminding now that in the fourth quarter, everyone's watching, including Florida. Now their game, I think, is over with against Central Florida, and Tennessee is off today. So players and coaches from both of those teams, who they have to beat to really get the respect they deserve, are watching now. So they're out to prove something here.
Well, you can believe Tennessee's watching. I think Florida's tied up at the moment with Central Florida.
Swings the strike, first and goal. Bad Parker. You think Carter is not fired up?
There's an excited quarterback, because he put that one right on the numbers. He threw that like a seasoned veteran in the pros to Thad Parker. Well, that's a rope right here.
I'll say one thing for Parker. At 5'9", 158, folks, it takes a lot of fortitude to go where he just went with the football. You know you're going to get hit by more than one. First and goal. Sanks is the lone setback. Here comes the option. And a pitch to Sanks, and he'll walk it in because of the fake by his quarterback. Touchdown, Georgia.
Beautiful block by Terrence Edwards on the outside. Oh, that's what you want out of a wide receiver. That's why Jasper walked in the end zone.
Hines with the extra point. He's got it. 11:49 left to play. We'll take a timeout. And our new score is Georgia 24 and South Carolina 3. ESPN2's presentation of college football is brought to you by Yamaha, makers of the new line of Bear ATVs. Yamaha goes out here, Bears rule. And by Aquafresh Whitening, safe to use every day for dazzling whiter teeth. In case you are not familiar, Gilbert Hall here on the campus at the University of Georgia. Quincy Carter sitting closest to the fan there. He's sitting close to a lot of fans in this stadium. They love him, buddy, and for good reason. This is Brewer, 1 yard deep in the end zone. 34 yards on the return. Talton making the tackle.
Ron, talking about Quincy Carter, he was an extension of his coach, Jim Donnan, because that last drive, they needed that last drive for their confidence sake and the fact that things were slowing down a little bit. And you talk about quarterbacks being judged on winning. That's the main thing. That's why T. Martin at Tennessee should be rated higher right now than he is in the country as a quarterback. I think he's an outstanding quarterback, and you can only judge 12-0. What else can he do?
Not much, Bubba. Pressure inside. Almost lost the football, and the guy who caused it all, Robertson got him, but it was Brandon Miller who almost stripped it away, Mike.
There's another 300-pound defensive lineman to back up, and that's frustrating the coaching staff of South Carolina that they can't handle the pressure that Georgia's bringing with this defensive line.
Well, as we mentioned, back at the beginning of the third quarter and at the end of the first half, all of the youngsters that they are playing on defense, Kevin Ramsey got to love a night like tonight where he gets a lot of reps for at least 10 people. Draw play. No. Yeah, Williams. Who faked us all there? Chambers will make the tackle. Brian Kenny, let's check with you.
All right, Ron, we have Marshall taking on 1AA Liberty, and that's Chad Pennington. It's going to go to John Cooper, and this will be his 64th touchdown pass. He is now the all-time leader in the MAC. Yes, it's just Liberty, but Marshall beat Clemson. Clemson beat Virginia today easily, Ron.
9 yards to go.
Well, that is a great fluid motion when he throws the football, isn't it?
He might be as technically sound a quarterback as there is this year, Chad Pennington.
Great looking quarterback. Third down. Pressure from the backside, gets his pass away, and it should have been caught. It was dropped by Scott. Scott had it hit him right in the hands.
Phil Petty under tremendous pressure in this ball game, but he has the presence of mind to step up again. Play action, trying to get more blocking for his team and his offensive line.
Robertson all over him. Brandon Miller coming in with a late stab. And they'll have to punt it away on 4th down and 9. 8th punt of the ball game for South Carolina. Maybe one of his best. Patrick pass from the 21. And Patrick will take it out over the 35-yard line. As Elam on the special teams. 43 yards in the kick and 15 on the return. We'll be right back. Just under 10 minutes to play in this one, and 24-3 Georgia leads it. In fact, I'm surprised the streets outside the stadium beginning to fill up a little bit. Some folks heading away from here early.
They have confidence in the Georgia defense.
Well, of course, you see a G there, but some of those could be South Carolina fans as well, I guess. Sanks the lone setback, and he gets the handoff. Faison makes the tackle. And Mike, the question for you is, if something happens to him where he can't go, now what happens to Georgia? Where do they go?
Well, they've had a lot of quarterbacks leave, and because Quincy Carter's sophomore, LeBron Mitchell is the backup. You're looking at him right here, number 12. So figures that he may get a little work in this ball game, but Quincy Carter, they're going to protect him pretty good all year, Ron. You saw him slide. He's got to slide down when he's running the football.
Here comes that option. Oh, boy, he got his head knocked off. And I'll tell you, it was 95 Abraham as Sanks picks up the first down. Well, I may be wrong here. He may not have the first. But Quincy really got unloaded on. And that's the only thing about an option, Mike. He's not protected there.
It's the first time a quarterback's going to signal to the coach and say, don't run that play again.
Well, hey, like a catcher in baseball, you can shake it off.
Here's the quarterbacks. Daniel Cobb left. John England graduated with eligibility left. So they lost 4 quarterbacks that were highly touted.
And Hibble, they transferred. That will be a first down for sure.
This is a good sign, though, for Georgia. They get a little flat in the middle of this football game, but Jasper Sanks has looked good to me tonight. He really has. He's emerging now as a running threat in this ball game. 215 now. He was 225, and now they say he's down to about 215. Looks a little quicker. Had ankle problems last year.
He gets a breather. Patrick Pass checks into the lineup replacing him. That's Phillips, top of your screen. The new set of downs. Carter rolls that pocket and throws this one low. That would have been a difficult catch for Johnson. But those big tight ends, 6'5" and 6'6", if they got to go down and grab a ball like that, that's difficult. And there was a flag in the middle. That could be offensive holding. Nope. Illegal man downfield.
Ron, we talked about this early in the ball game. The missing puzzle piece for Georgia is a running game.
Ineligible receiver downfield on the pass. 5 yards, still first down.
And this man right here, Jim Donnan, would like nothing more than Jasper Sanks to just appear and to be a big part of his offense, because it will take a lot of pressure off Quincy Carter.
Well, this is a career high for Sanks at 98 yards on 18 carries and an average of over 5 per carry. And his head coach would just love to have that average at the end of the year, wouldn't he, Mike?
Oh, without a doubt. He'd like to see him go over 100 in this game.
Here comes the pressure for the outside. Carter going to run it.
Forgot the slide, Ron. He was getting into the slide, but he wanted to pick up a couple more yards. He's been tattooed a little bit in this ball game, and he's taking some hits.
Mike, in the video I watched yesterday, he got hit a bunch in last week's ball game, probably more than Jim Donnan would like.
But he's 223 pounds, 6'3". He kind of pulled up there a little bit, and Andre Offing
12 yards.
with the hit.
2nd and 3 from the 39.
Clock now running. We're about to go under 7 minutes left in this one. The pitch to Pass. Good penetration, and the pass going to be dropped for a loss back at the original line of scrimmage, the 45 by Caldwell.
This is a conference, so I've seen this in this conference in the last 4 or 5 years. They play one quarterback. They play most of the ball game. You see Kentucky this year with Couch. He played most of the time, so they've got a new quarterback. Same thing with Damian Craig when he was playing. He played all the time. So coaches just want to keep the quarterbacks in.
From the Carolina 45.
And this game's still alive. You're only ahead by 21 points.
Johnson, the tight end of the 48, just limped off the field on the near side. 3rd down and 10. Carter sings this one in and out of the hands of Edwards.
A lot of drops today. He should have had that phase on with a good hit.
Face on with the coverage. 4th and long.
6:25 left in this one. 24-3 is Win Kopp. You see his average as long as 49 on the day, and he'd like to pin this one inside the 20 as Boo Williams is back deep. Fair catch, and in traffic going to be stopped just short of the 20. Well, coming up later tonight, 23rd ranked Texas is in New Jersey to face off against Rutgers. That comes your way around 8:15 when we're finished here in Athens. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com. Major Applewhite with an outstanding game again last week. But young Mr. Sims is only about 40 miles from his home, and I wonder if he'll see more playing time tonight.
I'm sure he will, but it's going to be hard for him to unseat Major Applewhite.
Give it to the fullback, Neesmith, and there's nothing doing for him. You can see Brandon Miller, 51, and Millard down at the bottom of the stack. Adrian Carson, let's check with you.
There's a young man we have not seen the last 2 weeks in the South Carolina backfield. His name is Andrew Pinnock. He was Mr. Football in the state of Connecticut. Obviously, Skip Holtz was instrumental in getting him down here, but the NCAA clearinghouse, Ron, has declared him ineligible because a core course of his from high school was not what was represented on his transcript. I'll give you the full details here after this play.
Okay, Adrian.
One of his coaches, Reggie Pope, a former player of mine, said he's the real deal.
Quick swing pass out here in the flat at the 20 to Spikes. Adrian, back to you. Finish your story there.
Well, Coach Holtz says he may be the best freshman running back he has. Better than Derek Watson. Probably better than, believe it or not, Jerome Bettis. He thinks he's stronger. He thinks he's faster, at least at this point in his career. He hasn't played it down at college football yet. The indication from prior to kickoff tonight was that Lou expected to hear one way or another whether Andrew was going to be declared eligible this week. He did not. And remember, the clearinghouse only meets now once every 2 weeks, so we still have a while to wait to find out about his status.
Adrian, I also heard up here at halftime that has been sent. Even a special committee is looking at it, which tells me they're about to decide he's not eligible. They're not going to be. That pass to Boo Williams, and he'll step out of bounds after picking up the first down. But if there's a special committee looking into it, they've gone to it. So that to me would almost be like an appeal, wouldn't it? To you?
Well, as soon as you said a committee's looking into it, that's bad news. But anyway, Derek Watson, Ryan Brewer. Watson, South Carolina, Mr. Football. Ryan Brewer, Mr. Football in Ohio, and then Pinnock out of Connecticut. They're stacked pretty well in the running back situation for years to come.
Yep, they are. 4:52 remaining, 24-3. Coach Holtz would love nothing more than to get a touchdown, but look who's there. Big number 19. He plays offense and he plays defense. Charles Grant. We saw him score a touchdown tonight, and he shows right there that he can get after you from that defensive end position.
He's exciting. And I tell you, he's an exciting football player. He's going to be a crowd favorite here.
Yeah, you're right.
Little Refridge. Of course, he looked like he can carry the ball. Refrigerator was more of a blocker for the Bears than Mike Ditka.
Yeah, see, Mike, the difference is now he's not a double door. He's an
icebox.
Yeah. See,
one panel.
No, double panel. See, this kid's 6'4". Pass over the middle by Petty. Got it. This time Scott holds on, and he is brought down by Jamie Henderson.
Complete over the middle to Scott.
Scott, nice target, 6'2", 212. Good throw by Petty. Again, this is what you're looking for if you're Holtz and his staff. You want good things to happen to build on with 4:04 on the clock.
396 total yards in this ball game for Georgia, as we have gone under 4 minutes to play. 175, the numbers on South Carolina. Petty, 10 of 26, 2 intercepts, 126 yards. This one would have helped it a bunch, and it is caught inside the 10-yard line by Kelly. And we had remarked during the timeout not too long ago, as that one's good for 35 yards, that we hadn't heard anything from Kelly in 2 ball games.
Yeah, Jamie Henderson's playing him man for man. Jermel Kelly, 6'2", but Henderson doesn't play the ball very well and then gets hurt after the play. Turns, gets separated a little bit, and a great catch by Kelly. Controlled it with his left hand, brought it in.
Good for 35 yards, and the ball is now spotted at the 8-yard line. It is first down and goal, South Carolina.
And this is good for Phil Petty because, as I said from the start of this game, every coach, Skip Holtz, Dave Roberts, all the assistants, they just speak so highly of Phil Petty. Redshirt sophomore quarterback. Last week he was 4 out of 10 in a bad weather condition. They said he kept coming out Skip Holtz kept saying, he said the ball's heavy. And he just didn't know how to throw a heavy ball in that weather, and it slipped out of his hands a couple times, so they didn't have any passing game last week.
Well, time is back in to 1st and goal at the 8-yard line. Petty for the end zone. Got him for the touchdown. Carlos Spikes got a foot down, and he scores the first touchdown of the 1999 season for the Gamecocks.
Another nice throw by Phil Petty. He's ending this game with confidence. A little pick, a little rub off. Spikes all alone because they did a nice job of erasing the defender of Georgia.
Levitt with the extra point attempt. And he missed it. Low pass. Difficult time handling the football. And a flag is down at the line of scrimmage.
A dead ball, all fitting, personal fouls, have the kickoff at the 35.
So let's take a timeout. 3:16 left in our ball game. The new score, 24-9, Georgia. We'll be right back.
A Major Applewhite with 12 straight games with over 200 yards passing. It's Texas and Rutgers. As soon as this one is over, we'll go out to New Jersey. Ron?
All righty. In our situation, we got 3:16 left, and Georgia with a commanding 24-9 lead. And of course, everybody in this stadium looking for the onside kick, and they came within a breath of getting the last one on their kickoff, but he kicks it away.
That's why, because everybody in the stadium was looking at it, and then Georgia goes to a knee.
Well, you signal for a fair catch, I think.
He's a little confused there. What you always hope to do on that when you have an onside kick return team and they kick it deep, middle wedge it. But Terrence Edwards got a little confused on the play. A lot to build on if you're South Carolina. Phil Petty played a lot better in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, he did. He stepped up into the pocket nicely a couple of times in the second half when he was under extreme duress. And then on the touchdown drive, this is Sanks. Turns it back up into the middle and will take it to the 23.
You get the feeling here, Ron, that they're on the verge of something big here at Georgia under Jim Donnan. 89 wins since he's been a head coach in his 10th year. He'll be going to 90 tonight. He's done a remarkable job here. But there still lies ahead, like you said about South Carolina, still Florida and Tennessee. So the ball game a couple weeks from now is where I think everything's geared to. They've got a nice schedule here to start off and be successful. But they've got to beat Tennessee. And they've got to find a way to beat Florida.
Shanks.
Here's what I'm talking about, Ron. They got Central Florida in here, and they got LSU in here. Here's the big one for them right here. You talk about how big it is. Rodney Garner came over from Tennessee. Kevin Ramsey came over from Tennessee. And that's respect for Philip Fulmer and what he's done in Tennessee, putting his staff together. But their schedule is pretty conducive to have a great year. Got that other bear right here, too.
Sanks, by the way, Mike, is 107 yards on 20 attempts. Well, he's going to have the first down. Thomas Hill defensively.
Well, there's two people more happy than Jasper Sanks, and that's his coach, Jim Donnan, and Quincy Carter, because Quincy Carter gets a lot of pressure taken off him. If Jasper Sanks can step up and be the running back that everybody thought of in recruiting, because he was highly recruited by everybody. I knew you were gasping there with Quincy Carter carrying that ball. And,
I'm looking here with 90 seconds to go, and you're all everything players out there running them naked. I just thought maybe there were a couple of other plays in the book
that's
that
the get down. That's a get down play. If you can't make it, get down.
Here's Sanks behind his blockers.
He's tipping and
House finally pushed him out of bounds.
He'd be my player of the game for Georgia, because he's emerged in this game. Maybe now he'll play with that same confidence week in and week out.
Well, he's got 123 yards and a touchdown on 21 attempts. I would totally agree with you. And my player of the game on the other side would definitely be John Abraham, the senior out of Timmonsville.
Great game.
Oh, boy.
John Abraham.
And a lot of pro scouts have got to be.
He's high.
Looking at number 95 and thinking that he could help them.
He's on Mel Kiper's list, I can guarantee you.
Sanks cuts it back into the sideline. Don't run out of bounds. Well, he didn't.
He did the smart thing. Almost cost him his arm. But he didn't go out of bounds.
Texas and Rutgers coming up next. As soon as this one is over, and our clock is running with 33, now 32 seconds.
I believe that's it.
Lou Holtz will have to wait for another day to win his first, and meanwhile on the sideline at number 6 is now 1-0. August 6 is 10 seconds down to 9.
Your final score in this SEC opener.
And the Georgia Bulldogs,
South Carolina 9.
walk away with the victory. Our final score, Georgia 24 and South Carolina 9. For Mike Godfrey, Adrian Karsten, and our entire ESPN crew, we say good night from Athens, Georgia. Now to Piscataway, New Jersey, and here's Mark Jones. Mark.